Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, McPeter123. Thanks for the suggestion, Peter. You asked, how do woodpeckers avoid brain damage? If you've ever watched a woodpecker hammer away at a tree, you've probably wondered how it doesn't just knock itself unconscious. I mean, if we banged our heads against a wall that much, we'd have a serious problem, or at the very least, some regrettable life choices. So, how do these little feathered jackhammers keep their brains intact? Stick around as we crack open the mystery, right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with the insane physics behind a woodpecker's headbanging routine. These birds can peck up to 20 times per second. That's 1,200 times per minute. That's faster than your annoying neighbor's construction project that never seems to end. And each time a woodpecker's beak hits a tree, it experiences a force of around 1,000 Gs. For context, humans pass out at around 5 Gs, and astronauts in a rocket launch experience only about 3 Gs. So technically, woodpeckers should be obliterating their own brains with every peck, but they don't. Why? Because evolution basically built them like tiny, high-speed shock absorbers. The first key to their survival is their skull design. Unlike our big, squishy human skulls, woodpecker skulls are smaller and packed tightly around the brain. This means less room for the brain to rattle around, which is exactly what causes concussions in humans. Think of their heads like a snugly packed suitcase, where everything is secure, compared to our heads, which are more like a poorly packed grocery bag, where things just tumble around. And get this, their skull isn't even the hardest part of their head. That honor goes to their beak, which takes most of the impact like a built-in helmet. But instead of sending all that force straight to the brain, the energy gets absorbed and redirected. Woodpeckers have a set of natural shock absorbers that would make car manufacturers jealous. Their secret? First, spongy bone. Right behind their beak, they have a layer of shock-absorbing bone that helps distribute the force more evenly. Second, hyoid bone wrap. This is the coolest part. Woodpeckers have a hyoid bone that wraps around their entire skull like a biological seatbelt. It's a flexible structure that helps stabilize their head and absorb impact. Third, thick neck muscles. Their neck muscles act like sturdy suspension springs, helping to slow down the pecking motion just enough to reduce strain on their brain. Basically, woodpeckers have an entire biomechanical safety system built into their heads, Mother Nature's version of airbag technology. Here's something weird. Woodpeckers close their eyes just before impact, but not because they're scared. They're clearly fearless. Instead, they have a protective membrane over their eyes that stops them from getting detached due to the intense vibrations. Yes, that's right. Woodpeckers peck so hard that if their eyes weren't secured, they might literally pop out of their heads. If that doesn't make you appreciate these birds, I don't know what will. Aside from their built-in safety gear, woodpeckers also peck with precision. Unlike humans, who just smash their heads into things when frustrated, woodpeckers strike trees in a way that minimizes sideways motion. A straight-on impact is much safer than a glancing blow. Imagine hitting a punching bag. If you hit it straight, it absorbs the force. But if you hit it at an angle, your wrist twists and you feel pain. Woodpeckers have mastered the art of perfectly aligned pecking, keeping their brains from twisting inside their skulls. And let's be honest, if humans had this skill, we'd probably see fewer people getting injured in clumsy accidents. Even with all this, you'd think woodpeckers would still get some level of brain damage, right? Turns out, their brain chemistry is different from ours. Scientists discovered that woodpecker brains contain high levels of a protein called tau. Yes, the same protein linked to brain damage in humans. But here's the catch. In woodpeckers, tau protects their neurons instead of damaging them. This means their brains are biologically wired to handle the constant pounding, while ours were designed for things like sitting at desks and forgetting why we walked into a room. You might be wondering, do they ever feel pain? Probably not in the way we do. Woodpeckers don't have the same kind of pain receptors for repeated impact. Plus, they have built-in rest cycles. They don't just peck endlessly. They take breaks, reposition, and pace themselves. Unlike humans, who push through migraines with caffeine and bad decisions, woodpeckers know when to stop. Woodpeckers are nature's perfect little demolition machines, designed to hammer away at trees without losing their minds, literally. So next time you hear a woodpecker going to town on a tree, appreciate the fact that it's a marvel of evolution and not just some bird with an anger issue. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new about our nature's professional headbangers, please don't try it at home. Make sure to hit that like button, not with your head please, and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.